So guys, good morning. My name's Chris Doyle. I'm calling into you today, guys, from Jackson, Tennessee. We appreciate you being here. We've been doing these Saturday morning trainings for some time, but this will be the first time that I have the honor of introducing Dr. Fred Cooper, the CEO of ARIIX, someone whom I met about a little over 7 years ago. And I'm probably going to pick on him a little bit because I'll be honest with you, 7 years ago, I wasn't in a good mood. And I was looking for a home, a place to go. And to be perfectly honest, everything that I said I was looking for in the company wasn't exactly what Dr. Cooper I thought had. But I was looking for something to go long term. And I want to make that very clear. I was looking for a company that had great leaders. And I was so impressed with the group. He was one of the first people I met. There were several of us there. Todd Rowland, Ken Bailey, Aaron Decker, Susan Frank. I mean, I could go down the list of several people that we had a meeting and of what we were looking for in a company. And obviously their vision and what they were looking for, I was very convinced they were very sharp business people. But I think I picked on Dr. Cooper because I said, I want, as much as they were telling us, how much was I believing? And I don't mean that to sound bad, but guys, anybody can tell you anything, but if they don't back it up, it really doesn't matter. And I'm here to say it. I'm going to say it publicly for Dr. Cooper. I told him I was watching him every day. I kept putting those little eye thing to, I'd look at you in the eyes, and I told him that. And I actually apologized about 5 years later because I kept looking for what could be wrong or what was going to be wrong. They gave us their vision of ARIIX. And what I want to say is that I've been with the company now 7 years. Everything they promised, they not only delivered on, they've actually over-delivered. And 7 years later, I couldn't be more happy with being a part of a company and an ownership group that has, in my opinion, the highest integrity, and they don't show favoritisms. Guys, these guys do things the right way. We were not paid to come here. We joined this company because we believed, and we've actually, Dr. Cooper and I have had some conversations about that because other places did make us some offers to come other places. Yet those folks I mentioned earlier chose this company because we believed in what they were trying to put together. So with all that, Dr. Cooper, I'm gonna turn it over to you because I want you to kind of tell us, most importantly, kind of what you told us 7 years ago, what your vision of ARIIX was, why that you thought you could build this massive company and believe that you were going to do something that was going to be special in our industry, and the company's vision, where we've started and where we're headed. So.
Thank you very much, sir. You did a nice job. I want to thank you. You didn't deviate very much from the script that I gave you, so I will make sure I pay you as per our agreement for all the nice compliments. Very nice, sir. Thank you.
You're okay. All deserved.
Okay, don't forget the last few summary statement of good looking and charming and witty. I did notice you didn't quite finish, but I figured you were going to wrap it up as well.
Well, the only thing I was going to add to that was that you knew how to pick ladies because you have one of the best looking wives I know of. So you're very good at picking girlfriends and now wives. So.
Who says you can't get, there's anything, no such thing as an ugly rich guy?
That's a fact.
So
you're living proof of that, aren't you?
Thank you very much. Although I tell you, when I left USANA as their president, now it's been what, 9 years, right? 9 years ago. Boy, I tell you, I went from good looking to ugly really fast. When you walk away from a business where you're the president, you make your 7-figure income, you can look me up on Edgar, I publicly traded on NASDAQ. It was fun. And to start all over because of issues you had with the former company and do it again is very scary. And for all of your group that you mentioned as well that have gone through it all and had all of those problems, I have a real affinity for how awful it is. So believe me, I have it. But we, 11 years ago, we started because of some changes that were being done in the company we came from that we thought we would retire from. So there was a group, well, actually, there was a large group of individuals who were going to be leaving that company. And when the owner gave them all a pay raise and said, hey, just come stay here, They all took our positions that we had vacated. It was a little bit treacherous. No, it was a lot treacherous, and left. And I've been working on a drug that I believe has some merit towards actually reversing MS. I know it's crazy, but I have some doctors that were working on the drug. I was funding that drug and figured I wanted to continue on that process because it is unbelievable. I have a brother-in-law who suffers from MS, the deterioration on the myelin sheath. They've now discovered myelin sheaths can regrow. And I am very interested one day in continuing on in that study. But for anybody who knows anything on bringing a drug to the FDA for approval, it is not only a long process, it is a forever process. And when I say forever, I mean forever and expensive. So when I quit my job at USANA and I went to work on my own, we decided, hey, you know what? We need to try a few things that are different in the industry and very disruptive. Now, I wish I could bring a lady on this call. And you know what? You may want this one day, sir, is to put her on the call. Because she just left her direct selling company. She didn't do any wrongdoing on why she left. She had some disagreements with products and the things the company did, didn't say a bad thing. And suddenly she has now become the bully victim of the situation. And she called me to say, I'm being threatened legally. What can I do? And I asked her for sending me her policies and procedures. I'm telling you, don't doubt me. I read her policies and procedures and I was just, oh my gosh, you really signed this. She cannot advertise that she is doing another network marketing company on any social media where any individual who is with the company, was with the company, or is potentially looking into the company. She can't say I'm with another company once she signed for the period of 1 year. My own personal opinion, the contract is not enforceable. But as she went through her agreement, I said, did you read this? Did you read this? Did you read this? And he was like, no, I didn't read that. I didn't know that. I didn't think it would matter, right? And Chris, I'm telling you, the woman is now, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do in her own personal situation. So she asked that I call. Fortunately, I talked to the president. There's some issues there. We were able to work it out, and now she is able to work her ARIIX business. But that probably is the single number one reason we started ARIIX. People do not know what they put in writing and what they signed. Chris, people join, and they just join because of you, right? They join because of Todd. They trust you. They have your opinion. But unfortunately, well, you probably did because you got issues. But most people don't read the policies and procedures. They just get on. They just see, oh, this Fred Cooper is good looking, charming, funny. I trust him. I get to work and get busy. And years later, when you have a huge business and there becomes a problem, everything I said about you and how I wanted you and I cared about you are thrown out the window, because what matters is what is written in your contract. And if you would, no, not you, anyone would compare policies and procedures of ARIIX to any other company in the industry, you would join no other industry. Seriously, I told 20 minutes. I'm worked up now because I had to read her policies and procedures just yesterday, and it was unbelievable. And it isn't the first time that I have seen that restrictive in what a rep is able to do, cannot do, and the rights that they have. Because network marketing companies are the police. Oh, probably shouldn't have used that right now in our current environment. But the police, the prosecuting attorney, the judge, the jury, the beneficiary of the execution of the results, shall we say. So when ARIIX joined, what did we say? We are actually not going to do a business where I say, you and I, Chris, are in business together. We're going to open up a shoe store. We're going to split all the expenses 50-50. We're going to split all the profits 50-50, and we're going to work 50-50. And then I add in the contract one line that says, oh, but just one thing. I'll never screw you, Chris. I promise I'll be a good man and we'll work together. But I do want one line in the contract that says I can change the terms of this contract anytime for any reason. And you just, in fact, not only would you not sign it, I don't believe you'd do business with me, because you'd say, what kind of human being puts a term like that in a policy and procedure?
I remember you saying, Fred, that very important thing you said to me, don't believe what I say, believe what I'm willing to put in writing.
Yep.
And you're right. I didn't read it. I had an attorney read it. My nephew is an attorney. So I didn't just read it. I had an attorney look at it. And his exact words were, if they break this, don't worry. These guys have got money. We'll go after them. So, so I didn't tell you that part. But he actually said, well, if they mess this up, you know, we've got legal things to go after them. They did. This was a unilateral agreement. He had those words. And so, and he's the governor of Tennessee's attorney. So it's not like just your average attorney reading it. So you probably didn't know that part. So I had
and it makes me mad we don't tell that story more, because that's all you have to say is read this and see what they put in.
That's right.
So ARIIX became disrupted by putting those terms and conditions in, putting in a Bill of Rights, walking through all of the legal contracts. Yes, we have to have some specific wording in case someone gets out of line. But even if you breach your contract, we have even given you the right of an appeal to Founders Club, who are your own peers, that you can go back to and say, I believe my cancellation of my contract was too egregious, and they can overturn the terms of the company. And if you, as we'll talk about, as you get to know our compensation plan, we don't even benefit from, well, I can't say zero. It is very negligible what we benefit from a termination, because we have dynamic compression. So it all flows up. So I'm not financially motivated per se to get rid of anyone. So if there's no financial motivation, I've turned over the overturning appeal process to your own peers, and you have a Bill of Rights protecting you. You would not be in the situation Amy is, where in one of their line sections, .4, it states, at the sole discretion of the organization, they will approve or disapprove any sale of a business to another individual. It said, I can't even sell my business. I said, not without their approval. And if they know you're leaving to ARIIX, they just won't approve it. Dirty buggers. Wait, I loved you. Oh, give me a break. What's in writing? Okay, so I am thrilled we started because of your rights and your protections. The next thing we did was we sat down, and Mark, he's our president, lazy sucker. All he does is come up with some idea and then turn to me and say, okay, Fred, this is what I want. So we sat in a room and we wrote down everything reps hate about compensation plans. He wrote down how we hate breakage, how they hate the little tripwires and gotchas that prevent you from making money. He talked about what everyone does on Friday night that we don't like to talk about right before the commission run, where you're busy looking at volume. Am I going to qualify for an order? How do I qualify for an order? Placing orders in the downline, right? All that stuff you have to do. And then when he got done with all of it, he said, now these are good features of a comp plan. These are good features of the comp plan. Hey, Freddie, go make a comp plan. So between Ian and I, we sat down in a room forever. We came up with a new classification of a comp plan, which is the multi-line. It is not a hybrid. It is not unlimited width and limited depth like a unilevel. It's not limited width and depth like a matrix. It's not limited width and unlimited depth like a binary. It is unlimited width, unlimited depth, with not only patent pending, We are the only company that can acquire different direct selling companies, not change the parent-child relationship. And we are the only company that has the ability to work cross-line while not doing anything to harm your original sponsor. So I'm very happy with the compensation plan, especially given that it is the highest paying in the industry, which means if we can make you rich, I can have just a little sliver and keep my wife happy so that my good-looking wife won't leave me for the pool boy. So with those two, that is how we have become disruptive in the industry. In our third year, we made one of the DSA's 100 largest. We cracked our toe in it. And now, since then, every consecutive year, we have increased the ranks of the top largest direct selling companies. I should know my number this year, Chris. What is it, 35, 34?
33, I think.
33. It's a 33, 34. I should know
30,
it.
Maybe
35.
35.
35. Now, you guys say, how can you be the CEO and not know that number? Well, that's easy, sir. Number 2 is the first loser. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose. What matters is whether I win and you lose. And our vision from the beginning was to be disruptive, get so many people nervous that they would say, you know what? I can't beat ARIIX. I might as well join them. There are 2 companies, Avon and Amway, start with an A. There will be a third, and that name will be ARIIX. And I said it from the beginning. I remember going into China, everywhere in China, everywhere. If you go to the airports, if you go to the grocery stores, there's always these stickers on there that say Amway, Amway, Amway. And I can remember walking around, we're nobodies. We're not doing anything in sales. We're losing money. And I said, you know what? You see that stupid Amway sign? One day I'm going to replace it. And I'm going to have ARIIX stickers placed all over China. I'm going to envision the day when I see a huge building in Japan, in Tokyo, that says ARIIX. It's going to be everywhere. And we're not going to be known just for direct selling. Direct selling beyond. So now people at least who have been saying, oh, nothing's ever going to happen. The whole company, it's not going to be around. In fact, I believe Todd, he will not, well, he may admit it, but I believe Todd said to me one time, you know, we didn't realize how small you were when we joined. And had we known that, we may not have joined. Is that true?
That's totally fair. Todd may not admit that, but I will admit this. Aaron Decker and I had that conversation not that long ago. So, they were talking about being the top 3, and we're like, we just need them to become pretty big. We don't, this big goal of being top 3. You've changed our thinking. I will admit, even 2 years ago, I was still saying, I'm not sure about becoming the top 3 in the world. Okay, you got me convinced. I mean, I admit it. I mean, the growth is showing, that the numbers are there. Everything you said, by the way, we're ahead of where you thought we'd be at this point. So not only winning, we got a big, I'm a football guy, so we got so many touchdown lead that it's not a matter if we're going to win the game. It's just deciding if we want to make what the final number is going to be. Right?
Yep. So now, amid all the civil unrest and the turmoil and the COVID and everything else that's a problem child, we have more companies coming to us now starting to say, hey, we've seen what you're doing in the industry. We've heard about you. And they don't say it this way, but it's basically, dude, we can't beat you. We want to join you. And you think I'm kidding. I don't know if you've been looking on the ARIIX website. Today, we just announced the acquisition of Mavi. It's another DNA profiling company that does some customization on your work, your heritage, your needs, and assessment. They have all these genetic markers, etc., have just become part of the ARIIX family, which I believe is a branch that you're going to see grow in the future. Because why? What's the next unique? We are a house of brands. We can bring in brands and products that you can participate in, and you have your choices of which brands that you want to do. That isn't the only acquisition you're going to hear about. I'm going to tell you now, we have more coming because they're coming out of the woodworks. We now get to be picky. No, you're too small. No, we're not going to deal with this. No, we don't care for the quality of your products, etc. So it's been kind of fun to do it. But In 2020, you ain't seen nothing yet. So MLMs, I know. We are notorious for telling you, we have this great enhancement coming to the comp plan. And you get all excited and then you get screwed, right? They cut your pay, they change the rules, something crazy. Or they're going to say, the greatest launch of a product we've ever had. And you're so excited. And then they hold up a little cap like this. And this is the new product that we're going to be offering. And you're like, that was all the hype? That was all the excitement? Oh, wow. Okay. Now you look at me, and Chris, you can look me in the eyes. 2020 will be the largest increase in sales in the history of ARIIX. I believe it's hard to say you are the fastest growing, but I believe 2020 we will see the biggest increase in the size of ARIIX than any other network marketing company. Our number one market right now is France. It is growing at better than 100% increase month over month for the last 2 months. It is now our single largest market. Every single market, even with the China problems that they have had, is now growing. And this year's sales will be the highest of all the sales years in ARIIX's 9-year history. I'm going to get more cocky. I believe we will be bigger by the end of the year than all other years of ARIIX combined.
I believe it. I see it.
One more time. That has to mean what I just said mathematically was we did 230 million last year. This year, it would mean if what I said is true, we have to do at least 460 million to hit my number. So, this year, I would strongly suggest if you are not in, to get in. Number 2, if you're sort of in, listen to me, get in. And if you're all the way in, sit down. When I take somebody for a big ride, I say, sit down, buckle up, hold on, because you are about to get the ride of your life. There will be so many. If I told you we had a new product coming out, which we do, oh, Deanna would be on and she'd be all excited. Nothing. If I told you we have a new brand coming out, an entire brand, that's exciting, which we do. Oh, that's nothing. If I told you we had mergers and acquisitions coming up that we're about to announce, new markets, all of those are true in 2020. And there's more to come. It will blow you away. And I will promise you, if you will become a part of ARIIX completely and entirely, you will make more money. You listen to me again. You will make more money in 2020 being a part of ARIIX than you have ever made before. And you are going to do it in ways you never imagined. In fact, we have some programs and items that will be coming out this year that are patented and have never been seen in the industry before. You haven't seen them. They've just become available. We have the patent filings for them. And it is associate-based marketing on steroids. We are going to corner the market, and I used to say we are going to be one of the top 3. I'm now starting to realize even my own vision was short-sighted. I believe we will pass Amway. I believe it. I can see it. I can see how we're doing it. And that means not only will I be better looking, but the reason we're going to pass is because all of you old farts are going to get good looking too. Because you will become a part of this. You will have opportunities like you have never had. And just when you thought you heard all the great announcements I'm going to tell you, you haven't heard all the great announcements. And I will tell you, here was the last great announcement sometime late in the fall where I say, okay, finally now you've heard the announcements. So get busy, don't leave, hang on, and keep watching on social media, the news, what we have to present, because as one person put it who is not in our industry, who knows where we're headed, that is working with us, said, wow, this really is going to be the greatest news that has hit direct selling in a long time.
You're not going to give us a hint?
I cannot. I'd have to kill you.
You know, now you got everybody just like, you know, won't be able to sleep for days thinking about all this. So we know the mergers. I mean, when you start talking about the fact that you've got something coming bigger than mergers and the growth that's going to, you know, that you've got a patent pending on, and see, I didn't expect that this morning. Now I'm not going to be able to sleep.
It's crazy. I'm telling you, it's crazy.
I can see it in your face, Fred. I can see you're so wound up that you can't even sit still.
Yeah, my kids listen to me talk about it. Don't force it out of them. They are little kiddies. But my boys, they're just looking at me like, Dad, you're really fired up. I said, yeah, guys, I'm telling you, this is unbelievable. The reps are going to go crazy. They will go crazy. They won't be able to comprehend it at first. And then they are going to say, wow, yeah, you're right. I'm going to do very, very well in this industry.
Wow. Todd, Ken, you guys want to ask any questions before I don't even know how to interview after something like that. I'm sitting here, my heart's racing. And I'm thinking, because here's the new people. Fred, we got so many people on here from the new Limu people. Some of them just been in the company 6 months. See, I know you from 7 years. You're not a happy person. That's what's so funny is that we've actually made the comment. Fred makes a big speech and he's funny, but he doesn't get you wired up. He don't get you ready to plow through the wall. That's just not his personality. And I see you bouncing off the walls right now. That's not, for those of you that haven't known Fred for a long period of time, this is not what I was expecting you to do this morning. I thought you were going to be this mathematical guy, give us all these numbers like you always do. And now you're like, this is this excitement guy that's talking about things coming, not you. Honestly, that's not his first. Ken, I see Ken pop on. Is that pretty accurate, Ken? That's not his personality.
Absolutely. And I don't really have a question, Chris. I just want to thank Dr. Fred for what he's done to make this time happen, because as excited as he is now and the growth that we've got going on, I promise you it wasn't easy in the early days. People we thought was coming didn't come, and new computer systems, you can go down the line. He's endured all that for us and his family too, of course, but we are so thankful to be a part of it.
That's very nice. Thank you. And I got to tell you, especially after last weekend, you're going to see even more changes coming. In life, you have to make hard choices and hard decisions to make change and invoke change. And it's funny, a lot of people are afraid of it. Mine is just the opposite. Okay, time to make some changes. This ain't going to work. I can't have this. We're becoming bigger and bigger, and we are going to be a target. You all know the cyber attack that we had. If you've noticed, now we're up. We've got experts coming in. Changes are coming, baby. I'm telling you. Nothing is getting in our way of being top 3. Nothing. And I want it in the next 5 years. I want to be at least top 10 in 3 years. Top 10. I believe we can do it. I believe we can get even bigger than that. But in order to do it, we've got to stop doing what we're doing now and start doing things we weren't doing to make us there. And that's kind of a point you ought to think about in your business. You can't fear change. You've got to be willing to do change, because if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. And in our case, we're good, but we've got our situations that we have got to improve on if we're going to be $1 billion plus. And at the rate we're getting there, it's time for Freddie Cooper, the CEO, to get up and say, now you see the more serious side. seriously, we have got to get this stuff. We got to get our act together. We have got to start becoming best in class in a lot of issues. And that's going to require some not with us anymore, some added to our team, more expertise brought in. And those are changes that you're going to see on top of everything else. Because when we make our announcements, you guys are going to blow up. And when you blow up, we got to make sure we support you. There's 3 things we have to do, and we got to do them very well. We got to take an order and an enrollment. We got to ship a product, and we got to pay commissions. And if we can do those 3 things, you guys are going to be the richest representatives of any direct selling company. And if we can't do that, then it is on me, because I am not able to fulfill. And before I go down, I will take everyone down with me who cannot accomplish the tasks required to do the big 3. So expect changes in 2020, because your sales are going to go through the roof.
Well, I think sales have already gone through the roof. So you're saying it ain't nothing yet, huh?
It ain't nothing yet. Nothing yet.
You know, Fred, I think one thing you said about the cyber attack, I mean, obviously the bigger we become, you're not a threat. Nobody thinks about it. Let's face facts. It doesn't matter who you are, what team you are, whatever. But when you become, obviously, I think some people were so freaked out about the cyber attack, and that just proves that it doesn't. We'll maybe never find out who did it. You may find out who did it, but we know this. The bottom line is that nobody talks about you unless you become a threat. And now we're not just a threat. We've become past the threat. We're past the threat stage.
Yeah, now it's, oh my gosh, attack is imminent. And, you know, hey, I ought to say on that attack, it was not a breach of security. We're not that naive. We didn't have any data lost or any credit cards or IDs or socials or anything. No, it wasn't that at all. What they did was you have a pipe going into your servers, and we get so many requests. You know, you're browsing the internet, you're looking at things all the time, and we have enough CPUs that we're running at about 15% of capacity. So your computer is running, think of it like 15 miles an hour. Then all of a sudden, in a coordinated attack, all of these computers start hitting our server all at once with bogus requests. I want to go here, I want to click here, I want to tap here in a coordinated effort, and all of a sudden our CPUs went from 10 or 15% to 100% utilization. They couldn't keep up with all the requests, and then everything log jams. And then the real requests can't come in, and you all think we're down. So it really is just too much traffic, bogus traffic on an internet pipe. So as a result of that, since then, obviously, we got experts in. They have all come set us up and everything. I was not a fun, jovial person on the weekend. Changes are coming. But please rest assured, it isn't anything on a security issue. It is on, look, people are always going to try to target you to bring you down to say, look, ARIIX has all sorts of problems.
Sure.
So
and that's part of being at the top. You know, I had a mentor once tell me,
yeah,
if nobody's talking about you, you're not doing anything.
That's right.
It didn't have to be good news or bad news. If nobody's saying anything about you, then you're probably not doing much. He would actually use a 4-letter expletive there. If you're not being talked about, you're not doing something. Okay,
that's right.
And that's kind of the way, Fred, I will tell you this, and you probably don't know this, but on our very first trip that we took, that we had won from the elite group, was into Cancun. And I remember a problem you had with MOA early on. You may not remember this, but I knew that you was always this fun, happy guy. And you didn't know, but I overheard a conversation on the phone, and I saw you take another owner, pull aside, his trip was cut short. And I saw a side of Fred that was the business side. And you probably didn't want me to see that. It was probably one of the best things, because I came back to my room and told Judy, I said, oh, I saw the other side of Fred that's in that corporate office, that he's taking care of us as reps. Because you're not going to get mad or holler at us. But I'll promise you, when it comes to the business side, you're dead serious. You don't play around with people and getting their jobs done. I don't think you. Would that be a nice way of saying that? You don't kid around when it comes to the other side of the fence, right?
Yep. You couldn't have said it better. They know it. I had a lot of people who wanted to leave USANA and come work for me. But I am proud to say they were the ones that work. If you don't, or you don't do your job right, or you are caught with your pants down, I have no tolerance for that. because when you fail at your responsibility, it affects everyone. When you are not doing your job, I feel so much, you do not know how much responsibility I feel to all of you. If this fails, your livelihoods are on the line. You quit your jobs to do this. You quit you have given everything, and I've got what, 200,000 of you? So one guy not pulling his weight, 5 girls not pulling their weight, I don't care who you are. You walk in and you say, you know your responsibility. Was it very clear? Yes. Did you have the resources to do it? Yes. Okay. I appreciate the apology. It's unacceptable.
I know you're no nonsense when it comes to that side of it.
No nonsense. Yeah, no nonsense.
And that's not just with the that's with your partners as well.
Yep.
I would say that those closed doors get pretty heated sometimes.
I lost my best friend, who was one of the partners at first, one of my closest friends, because I got rid of him. And I fired him because he wasn't about the reps, he was about himself. He got cocky in the beginning, how big he was, and he was not what we wanted as an owner. I fired my own brother at ARIIX. I would fire my own mother. Now, I'm proud to say then I would be paying my mother's mortgage. My mother's passed away. And then I would pay my mother's mortgage for the rest of her life because I had to fire her. But when it comes to everybody's got to be in the boat who's rowing the boat, yeah, you better be rowing.
I believe that. And by the way, that's a good thing because as a representative out here, we have to trust the leaders at the top of the company to do what they're supposed to do to make sure that it happens.
That's right.
So I don't know if there's anything else, Todd. I know we got Aaron on here as well. Aaron, you're welcome to unmute if you want to ask anything, if you want to add something to this. I mean, we're excited. I mean, I've been excited about the company, Fred, for a long time, but I will admit I'm a different level of excitement level because I see it. It's one thing to talk about it. I mean, talk about it. I mean, just face it. It's, when you get to that level of no longer talking about it, it's actually beginning to happen. And it's no longer we believe this is going to happen. Then you see it happening. I mean, it's like, you start picking up the trophy. And, I'm not saying we're lifting the trophy. All I will say is that we definitely you've got some amazing things happening. I thought it was great last year, except and now you're telling me what we think the first 6 months was good. And you're saying the next 12 months is going to make the last 12 months look jovial, I guess is the way to put it. Nothing.
Yeah. My former company was a jerk to me when I left. I had a significant role, and I do not say this to brag, I had a significant role in making the initial owner investor who put $1 million into it, had a $5 million net worth, going through a divorce, which means he would have been worth half of that, become a billionaire. And they treated me like dirt when I left. It was horrible. They lied about me. They deceived me. I thought my reps would love me because I worked so hard in their behalf. I was going through what Amy's going through. I cared about you guys. You dogs. How could you do this to me? I have one objective that I will share that I've never, ever shared. One day, I want to tender an offer. It will never happen. Don't spread the rumor it's going to happen. It isn't going to happen. They would never do it. One day, I want to offer to buy USANA, just so that I can go back on that $1 billion company and say, you dogs, you treated me like garbage, and now I'm buying you, and all of you rude people, get out. We're taking over. You said we wouldn't do it. You lied about what ARIIX had become, and now what? You're a lousy $1 billion in size? Some change.
I said that to you once, that the main objective was to become bigger than them. You never really acknowledged that, but I could see the competitiveness in you that was goal number one. Amway wasn't goal number one.
No.
First goal was to catch them. Second goal was to become the glory, was to get in the top 3, which is now being adjusted. Goals have to be adjusted as you go forward. I mean, that's the way life works. You don't always have the same goal. So, hey, I saw Todd unmuted. Todd, you want to add something? I know.
Just 2 comments. I just want to translate 2 things that Dr. Fred said. The first thing is that when the company does $1 billion in revenue because of our pay plan, that means 500 million has been paid out into the network out here. And it's as much as you want to go and get. And that means if we become a top 3 and we do 10 billion, that means there's going to be 5 billion paid out into the network out here. So now's the time to build that network. And when that 5 billion starts releasing yearly into the network, you just want to make sure you're capturing more of it than anybody else. And then the last thing, my kids let dogs out. It's real. But the last thing is the reason that none of us want to be owners, the reason it's such a great thing to be a rep is last weekend when Dr. Fred was pulling all of his hair out, some of us were at the beach, others were hunting, we were fishing, and we were just texting Rick, we're not going to get that fixed. So, Fred, I want you to become the richest owner in the network marketing industry because I know the things you have to go through. I know what our needs out here. I know what it takes to get products shipped around the world and rep services. And I know all the requests we're throwing at you all the time. It never goes unappreciated. And I believed in you on day one, and I'm now certain I think we're going to be much bigger than 10 billion. I think we're going to take over this industry. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, sir. I believe we will too.
Well, I mean, I don't know what else to say. The one thing remember one thing you said to us, Fred, you not only wanted to be the biggest company, and Todd just hit on that, you wanted to have the biggest payout in history. And
yeah.
And this goes hand in hand. If you already have the best compensation plan, the number one at payout, very easy to know that you'll have the most paid out in a year ever in the industry. That may happen before we become number one because of some of the comp plans being so bad on the people we're going to bump off because you'll pay out more than everybody else in a hurry. So, guys, we appreciate you. I know that this is a Saturday morning, and this is the first time I've had the privilege of having you on our Saturday morning call. But I want to warn you, we're going to have you back again because now I won't be able to. I'm so wired up. I'm ready to cancel my afternoon and start making more calls like everybody else needs to be doing on this thing. So, guys, thank you again. Fred, any parting words last minute before we shut this thing down?
Yeah, last words are in another month or two, you may want to have me back on because people are going to go crazy thinking, oh my gosh, you weren't kidding. And then I'm going to look at you and say, yeah, you're right. I wasn't kidding. Oh, we're not done. We've just begun. I have more coming. And you will all blow up, faint, die. And I tell you, number one, baby.
Okay.
If you are not
going to mark it down in 90 days.
Changes.
We'll plan to have you back in 90 days, and we'll look forward to seeing you. Some of us are coming out in July, so we'll look forward to seeing you in July. We'll sneak something out of you then.
Okay, well, if a bunch of you are coming out, you better reserve your spots because if you're coming out towards the end of July, everybody's going to want to come out the end of July.
Perfect. All right, Fred, thank you so much again for being on with us this morning. I mean, Todd said it, but we know we have never been a part of such a hard-working group of owners, not just you, but we could say all the owners. I know Mark, I mean, we can put out the list. I mean, you guys have put so much effort into here. I don't even know how you did it. I mean, even with your Rejuvenex, I don't care how good the products are, with the kind of effort you guys have put out, you must have lived on Rejuvenex and things for a while trying to make survival because
I got no idea.
I can't even imagine. So thank you so much. And we'll just plan to have you back on here then about 90 days. So you said about 90 days, we're going to plan to have him on a Saturday. We'll work it out what the Saturday will be. And we'll be talking about what you talked about today. So guys, I'm going to stop this recording.